Congresswoman Cammack from the House Government Weaponization Subcommittee. Congressman, you heard Hillary Vaughn's reporting there. What's your reaction?
Oh, well, I have to commend her for her really not only just following her all the way through the House office building, but into the Capitol, but asking the pointed question that so many have been asking across the country. This is also in stark contrast to, this is the group, keep in mind, that has said for years that silence is violence. When the entire nation was on fire with BLM protests and there were signs that they were holding up and chanting silence is violence, now, all of a sudden, they are eerily silent. So that's something that I think is extraordinarily telling, because now we have seen the squad is directly endorsing the violence. They can't denounce it in a simple question from a reporter. They'll never be able to denounce it. And so I think that's very telling.
And Congressman, members of Congress, including the members of the so-called squad, they have access to briefings and information.
Yes.
The rest of America does not, about Hamas terrorists. Hamas is just like ISIS. The question is, why don't they recognize that Hamas purposely targets innocent civilians, just like other terrorists, because they cannot stand up to armed forces?
You know, it's interesting. I'm not sure if they care. And this morning, Liz, we had a classified briefing. Now, keep in mind, Congress leaks like a sieve. So we know that there are all types of reports that go out from these briefings, but it begs the question, and in fact, today, my colleagues and I, we were having this conversation. Should members of Congress who openly support the terrorist group Hamas, should they have access to classified information as it relates to Israel and Hezbollah and Hamas? I think that the American people would say no. And I think that that is something that their constituencies should be thinking about every time they elect these members to represent them in the People's House in Washington, D.C.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre had this to say about all of that, what we're talking about. Watch this.
What is the president's message to members of Congress who seem to be equating the Hamas terror attack with actions that were previously taken by Israel?
We believe they're wrong. We believe they're repugnant, and we believe they're disgraceful. Our condemnation belongs squarely with terrorists who have brutally murdered, raped, kidnapped hundreds of Israelis. There can be no equivocation about that. There are not two sides here.
This attack has brought to the surface painful memories and the scars left by a millennia of anti-Semitism and genocide of the Jewish people. So in this moment, we must be crystal clear. We stand with Israel.
You know, it's unprecedented for the White House to criticize other Democrats. Also, Congressman, we have breaking news. Democrat Michigan Congressman Sri Tanendar renounced his membership in the Democrat Socialist America, saying he can no longer associate with an association unwilling to call out terrorism against Israel. Is this all a turning point for the Democrat Party?
Yeah, Liz, I think it is. You know, this is where the fractures in the Democratic Party are starting to come to light. For the longest time, you had a really interesting, diverse set of voices within the Democratic Party. But here recently, in the last couple of years, they have shunned those that don't toe the party line of this ultra-progressive liberalism. So to see now these fractures coming to light, it just shows what we've known all along. The Democrats are in disarray. And so I'm really proud of the fact that the White House denounced this, but it's long overdue, and I'm glad they could take a break from their barbecue to do so. But I am appreciative of their clear and concise condemnation of the squad's rhetoric.
Congresswoman Cammack, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you soon. We'll have you back on again. It's good to see you. Coming up, the Federalist.